Charlie. Hey, Charlie. Charlie.
What you got?
The pick
Yep.
is in.
It is.
At number 8 in the NBA draft, the Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, have selected Dyson Daniels.
There it is.
A G League out of the G League. The G League Ignite is the actual name of the team he played for last year. This is the first time in a while you've seen the Pelicans go big on, it might be the first time ever you saw the Pelicans go big on a player who did not play in the NCAA.
Nope.
And it's interesting because the developmental curve for him might be a little different from a player who was in college. He was playing professional basketball last year. So, he didn't have to worry about class. He was worrying about being a professional player. He's out of Australia. He's 6'6", about 200 pounds. He's more of a wing than a guard, but I think you could still see him slot in at the guard position. Long arms, rangy defender. Some comparisons to maybe Alonzo Ball on the defensive side. What are you seeing?
So here's his just combine measurements. He had grown actually to 6'8", 200 pounds, reported 6'11" wingspan. So
that's something.
Yeah, that's pretty nice length. And if you look at what the Pelicans have been doing recently, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, guys that are wings that have really long wingspans, really bigger guys that could potentially be versatile defenders. I mean, it makes sense.
No, and I mean, last year I sat here doing a draft special alongside Scott Alexander and just yelled for about 20 minutes about how the Pelicans need to prioritize wings who can defend multiple positions and shoot from the corner. And I think that's what you're going to get here. I do think that he probably needs to bulk up a little bit. And it's something you say a lot about young players. I don't know if he has an NBA ready body. I think he probably needs to get a little stronger. If he has grown to 6'8", 200 is not exactly an imposing weight. And he's going to get bullied a little bit.
He is only 19 years old as well.
Well, so. Right. And that's why young players, this is a normal critique, and it's going to be on the Pelicans to kind of bulk him up a little bit. But hey, if they can get it out of Brandon Ingram, I think they can get it out of him.
In his draft profile, it says his weakness is shooting. However, he still had 45% from the field, which is still pretty solid overall. And I think the Pelicans think that they have a strength with Fred Vinson as their shooting coach. So they can improve any one shot. They were able to take Lonzo Ball's jacked up shot and turn him into a decent 3-point shooter. So
Brandon Ingram wasn't a great shooter either. It was interesting to see how Brandon Ingram kind of shifted last year. He kind of stopped taking a lot of threes, but they did kind of correct some of the hitches in his shot. So I think the Pelicans always feel good about, if there's a guy who the main negative is, he's just not a consistent shooter. They trust Fred Vinson to kind of take that to the next level. He averaged 12 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 5.1 assists, 2 steals a game.
Very versatile.
The Pelicans are they're doubling down on lockdown defense, which good.
Yes.
There was so many years, especially under the Alvin Gentry coaching regime, where all you needed was a semi-competent defense and you couldn't get it. And it was infuriating to watch. It just looked like they just had no plan. They didn't have the athletes to play good perimeter defense. They didn't have the effort to play good perimeter defense. And that's clearly been something that's changed significantly under Willie Green. And I'm happy to see it because there is nothing more frustrating than watching a team lose 135 to 132.
You saw that a little bit with Stan as well, where there were games where the teams that the Pelicans were playing would just go off from the 3-point line because they just had no perimeter defense at all.
Yeah, but it was different with Stan. It was like he was yelling about defense all day long. They just weren't doing it.
They just didn't care.
Alvin, I'm pretty sure Alvin just was just like, hey, if we score enough, we don't have to play defense.
Yeah.
And I mean, he came out of the Phoenix Suns like 7 seconds or less, era. That's where he kind of got his coaching pedigree from. So that's just that was where he kind of developed his, tendencies.
We've said it multiple times the last few weeks. Like the NBA Finals this year proved that defense still matters.
Yeah,
the top 2 defensive teams in the league were facing off.
And I do wonder how much it matters to the NBA because I don't think they like defensive.
Oh no, the NBA wants all the dunks and 3-point shots and the.
That's true of any sport.
Massive, right? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with baseball. Baseball wants home runs.
The NFL stopped giving the Saints the Bucks on Sunday Night Football because they beat them 9-0.
Yeah,
they gives like ESPN can have it. But we are continuing to go through. There's a lot of interesting players left on the board, and we kind of have spent all day talking about number 8. Pelicans also have number 41, number 52.
Correct.
As we saw last year, the Pelicans have pretty good instincts with those later round picks. They got Herb Jones. We're talking about how Dyson Daniels can pair with Herb Jones. Herb Jones is number 35 overall pick.
We're talking about how, there's not many roster spots on this team. Do the Pelicans package those 2 picks in the second round and maybe try to move up in the second round?
The value of a second round pick is so low.
Well, you're still getting a second round pick.
Yeah,
if they have a player that they want early in the second round, maybe like a pick, I don't know, 37.
I think it's more likely they take one of them and they just ship it forward. They find a team like the Warriors who just want to add a piece and they like a guy late in the draft.
Okay.
And they could just sell it the way I think the Magic sold number 35 for cash. That's the value of a second round pick. So it's really tough. It's not like the NFL draft where a second rounder is a potential starter and trade, like there's the value of that is so high. And the NBA, once you get out of like the top 15, these picks are, worth pennies on the dollar. And it's more about whether you can accommodate them than anything else. But the Pelicans do have a G League team now. So they might have a little more value in picking those picks than they had previously, where a couple of years ago they were making picks in the second round. And by the time you had enough time to Google the name and kind of go, oh, okay, I like this guy, they were traded. So I don't know how they're going to handle it this year, but I imagine they will have some more space to be a little more aggressive with those picks and actually make them. And we'll see, like Jose Alvarado was an undrafted guy. And when you have the run to get these guys on the floor, you can get a little excited about Jose Alvarado this year. If they wouldn't be able to add a Jose Alvarado to this roster. And so, you kind of just got to see what you have available and see what you can develop and go from there. But that's going to be it. I'm Jeff Nowak, filling in for Christian Garrick on Sports Talk. I want to thank Diane Newman. I want to thank Ian Hoke, Kevin Cassidy. Everyone who helps us put this broadcast on the air. Charlie Long at Master Control. Another successful day. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in to WWL.